Sometimes I feel like I'm running the Millennium Falcon in here. You know, like, it's like what in the hell?
Yeah, you just got to give it a good punch and
like just where is it?
The hyperdrive kicks in.
There it is. Welcome to Silicon Valley Impact, where business insight meets startup innovation. Brought to you live from Silicon Valley, California. Please give a warm welcome to your host, Brian Sparks.
Way to hold it, Brian. Yes, there she is. Our audience goes wild. We pick up the energy. Welcome to
Sometimes, I'm sorry. Thank you. It's been a while, Brian. We haven't been here in a while. You can tell I'm a little rusty. It's our first show of our third season.
Season 3,
Right, yeah.
Cool. I was a little nervous too, Brian. I was wondering if I still had it, but make no mistake about it, we're here being imperfect anyway.
Yeah. And everything's on a 2-second delay here on my board. I don't know what's going on. And can you hear me at all through there?
You sound great.
There it is.
As usual. And one of our superpowers for all of our audience is the power of imperfection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say the power to not care.
There's a book on that. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So good to see you, Brian. We're starting season 3, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground in the first 2 seasons. I think we're approaching pretty quickly here, episode 100.
I think we did the math at the end of last season, and it was somewhere in the 80s.
Yeah, we're in the 80s, yeah. So we will be crossing that threshold soon. But before we get into it, I want to welcome everybody to Silicon Valley Impact. I'm your host, Brian Sparks. The purpose of the show is to have honest conversations about what it takes to build great businesses and communities so that you can make an impact within your own.
Yeah, that's the important part, isn't it?
Yeah.
To carry the message forward. To go out and take what you learned here on Silicon Valley Impact and bring it into your own community.
Move the needle.
You're looking at me like I've lost my mind.
You're on a roll. I just love it. We're working. I think that look is stuck on my face. Like I just look. Yeah, that's my resting look.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, Brian, welcome to 2026. Audience, welcome to 2026. We have a lot of great guests lined up for this year, but once again, I want to thank all of you who have been listening since the beginning, since last year and the year before.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for season 3. We're excited. We got 2 great guests today, and we will have more and more insight for you to make an impact within your own. Brian, you got any plans for 2026? Any resolutions?
I don't do resolutions as much as I do goals.
There's that debate. Those who do them, those who don't. Okay, all right.
I'm not really a resolution guy because I feel like those are things that you do and then you walk away from them in a way. And so if a goal is something I'm walking towards. And so I do have some goals, but they're pretty small because I generally tend to live a pretty... How should I say? I'm living a pretty good life, and I'm feeling fulfilled, and I take care of business, and I take care of my family, and I take care of myself. And so, really, if I had one that I was going to say here on the show, it would just be to play more pickleball.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that, and you've kind of inspired me, Brian. So I am a resolution guy.
Yeah,
I'll be walking away from my goal probably in about 2 weeks.
Good. We'll have something to talk about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's one of the goals. Is you talk a lot about, and you and Keith were talking earlier, and I'm sure Mauricio will chime in on this a little bit. I really want to focus on health this year a lot. I won't be playing pickleball, but I'll be doing. Weights and eating right. You guys were talking about that. But another one that's really important is guy time.
Oh, great.
Friends. Rallying around your friends. I think we get so immersed in Silicon Valley, building our businesses, and these are our passions.
Yeah. But listen, Brian, you are preaching to the choir over here.
All right.
Honestly, it's hard to do. This is why I love pickleball. We play mixed double sometimes, but a lot of times I just play with other guys.
Yeah.
And pickleball, let me just tell you this. Pickleball is recess. Do you remember recess when you were in school? Like you're down there and you're kind of like doing your thing and you're having a hard time concentrating because it's been an hour and a half or whatever, and then the bell rings and you're like, recess.
Let's go. Let's
Right?
go.
And you and your buddies were out just charging out there to play foursquare or wall ball or butts up or dodgeball or whatever, right? You had 15 minutes or 10 minutes or, right? Just recess. That's pickleball to me.
I love it.
And I think we just don't have enough recess in life. We're just always head down and butt up.
Yeah. I don't know if you thought that one through when you said that.
And sometimes you just got to put your head up a little bit and look around and enjoy life.
Yeah. No, so that's one of my things today is really have that quality time with my friends.
Good.
Doing the fun, doing recess. And
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. So I'll be doing that. I got a couple other resolutions, health and, just relationship oriented. But speaking of friends, I want to introduce a couple.
I want to hear about your relationship oriented resolutions.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast, Brian. And I'll be seeding our show possibly with my challenges and my celebrations.
We could do a therapy show, you and I.
Yeah, we'll gather around with all of my friends. Yeah, all my friends.
Yeah.
And I got two friends here today, Brian. I want you.
All right,
I want
let's
to bring
get
them
moving.
in. We got to get this train moving. All right. I want to introduce a couple friends of mine, and again, in Silicon Valley fashion. I do not do bios, but we have Keith and Mauricio. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Man, it's my energy's up already just listening to both of you guys. I'm like, woo!
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, Mauricio. Let me tell you.
No. I'm impressed. Thank you guys.
I love season of downhill.
I thought I was bringing the energy. You guys just inserted the energy into me, so I'm good.
I love it. Well, let's roll with it. Well, again, Mauricio, good to see you. Keith, good to see you, buddy.
Great to be here. I really appreciate you guys. That was a great intro. I love it.
Hey, you got a little radio voice yourself. Yeah, you and Brian could. Yeah, you got the radio voice. Well, we'll talk a little bit about. So let's do the intro part. So Keith, I'll start with you. For our audience, I mean, I know you. I could talk on and on about you and Mauricio, what you've accomplished in the Bay Area. But Keith, go ahead and give a little intro to your new audience of a million fans.
Wow. Okay. First and foremost, everybody, happy belated New Year. I'm just really glad to be here with you. You and I have talked over a couple years. We met right about the time that COVID was starting to lighten up.
Yeah.
And they started doing some in-person events. And I've been involved in the family office, venture, private equity for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And you always do a wonderful job in the community. You give your time, you MC. I just really appreciate that and getting to know you and meeting your partner, Brian. And Mauricio, I'm meeting for the first time. So this is they're spicing up the episode with a little bit of fun.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that this is supposed to be happening right now.
Yeah.
I do too.
So
I really
something
do.
great's going to come out of this.
Yeah.
Well, Keith, finish up a little bit because you got a startup. You worked on a lot of things. Just real quick, top of mind things that you're working on now.
Okay, so this is interesting. I've had a lot of things in the past. Like before this particular project, the most notable thing that I did, I was the co-founder and CEO for almost 9 years of the Tesla Foundation. And the same people that backed Elon and Kimball Musk for their SpaceX bid and then all the other stuff that happened when they bought Tesla, I was right there.
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
So that afforded me some really interesting opportunities to be in closed door rooms with the highest echelons of government and science and technology and finance.
Yeah.
And so the project I'm working on now is called Maykr Inc. And Maykr Inc. is a hybrid. It's something that is working. It's a rocket ship, but it's a combination of a holding company. Like we buy companies, we operate them. We have a robotics and automated materials handling systems company here in the Valley, Bright Lab, that we own. We also do private equity where we're financing all different types of projects, focusing on compute and energy projects around the world. And I'm just so lucky to have the ability to do good in the world.
Yeah. And you're loving life while you're doing it, because when you and I first met, we were geeking out actually on the bigger picture of life and what goes into seeing that and bringing that energy. Because I think even last time I saw you, we were talking about leadership and what it takes to be a great leader. But we'll tap into that going down the road. But I want to bring in Mauricio to give a little background intro on what you're working on, man. And once again, thanks for being here, buddy. I'm
I'm excited.
Still buzzing, huh?
I'm still feeling it. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and I'm going to have to send an invite, reciprocate, right, and invite you onto my show as well.
Love it.
And talk about entrepreneurship and our journeys, right? Everyone has a story, and we all have to share our story in life. Before we leave this planet, we have to share our stories or leave our stories behind. Man, I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. I don't want to say it wasn't by choice, but I grew up with a single mom and a younger sister. Grew up in Los Angeles, and for me, mom was more focused on making sure that we had food on the table and a roof over our head. And the wants were just the wants. She was there to supply the necessities. And one day, there was a gentleman in Inglewood, California, African American gentleman. I was on the corner passing out, selling stickers, really. And there's a story behind the whole stickers. But I was selling stickers because there was at 7-Elevens back in the day, there used to be a game called Spy Hunter. It was my favorite game. And I mean, my mom didn't have extra money, so I had to find a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
So the gentleman looked at me.
I love Spy Hunter, by the way.
Spy Hunter's the
boss. If you're Gen Xer, you know exactly.
Yeah. If I could I've been trying to find it, like see if I can pick it up from I'll buy the arcade game or whatever just to have it in my garage. But the gentleman came out to me. He said, "Son," he goes, "keep doing what you're doing." He goes, "You have an entrepreneurial spirit." I'm 15 years old. I'm like, what's an entrepreneurial spirit? He says, "Keep doing what you're doing, stay consistent, and you're going to do great things." Mm-hmm. Boom. Woke that. Planted a seed, and I think that's when the entrepreneurial switch went on. And from that point on, I've exploded in doing businesses. Got into the entertainment business at a very young age, throwing parties in LA, and got an opportunity again as a kid being a street promoter, and I worked my way up to ownership eventually when I moved up to the Bay Area. But that was my journey, how it started in entertainment, and then I also diversified into other things, real estate development, and other things.
Yeah. So you've kind of just spread your wings and found opportunities and things that you love. So I got to ask both of you. I always start with this question when people have such a rich background and experience. What is it about what you're doing now, and Keith, I'll start with you, that you love so much? I mean, it's a big question, but really, how does that sink into you? And what is, with all the things that you're managing, what is it that you love about it the most?
One of the things that success affords you is that you get to choose the people that you want to work with. Mm. And what I love most about what's going on right now is my team and my partners, and also the other folks with the companies that we see as partners and our capital partners. And that is about freedom. Yeah. Because when you're in a position where you lead with integrity, you lead with transparency in your relationships, you don't have that feeling that you're ever looking behind your back or over your shoulder. Amen. You sleep at night. Yeah. You can travel anywhere in the world to do whatever you need to do. It's remarkable. And, it's not about money. Really, this world is about people being able to work together to do good. Yeah. And I love that.
The people piece of it. Yeah. And again, there's so much to double click on there. So, Mauricio, I want to ask you the same thing. Why do all the things that you're working on? What is it that you love about it so much? It keeps you going and gives you all this energy and the big smile.
First I want to say, Keith, you hit it right on the money. It's the ability to have a choice. And I learned that at a very young age, the freedom that I got of being able to do what I wanted to do versus being told what to do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that growing up in the streets of LA, it's not even a choice. You were going down a path. You either go down into the drugs and gangs, or in LA you got the glitz and the glamour, or education. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I didn't have the parental guidance or the structure to say, hey, you need to stay in school. So for me, I was a kid from the streets. I loved it. But I chose glitz and glamour because I fell in love with music. When I look back, or when I think of the question you asked, it's the freedom that I get, and also the creativity that I get to put together and see fruition by either seeing people enjoy themselves and having a great time, or helping others in the companies that I build and helping them put a roof over their head and food on their table for themselves and for their families.
Yeah. So I got a question for both of you guys. What we see in startup and small business, a lot of people have great ideas. They're good at what they do. And then they take that experience and what they're good at and their great ideas, and they look to create a small business or a venture. And more times than not, they start in a silo, their area of expertise. What I sense from both of you and a lot of great investors and entrepreneurs who come through here is they see a big picture. They see a general big picture, not necessarily the details, because you got to learn along the way. What is it about your journeys that and where you're at now, and to see the big picture? Because both of you talked about creativity, you talked about freedom, and so you're clearly not in a tunnel. Like you don't have tunnel vision. There's times to be intense and focused.
Yeah.
But from a big perspective, you see the greater picture. How do you get there? I mean, that's because, if the majority of our audience are startups, they're going to be, a majority of them are going to be in a silo in the beginning. How do you come out of that? Keith, I'll start with you.
That's a really good question. Yeah. And the first part of that is just be curious about everything. And again, there's a lot of people that are executives and have been executives for a long time that are now starting businesses. And, that tunnel vision, their life, maybe it was school, maybe they were on the street and they figured out how to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the important part is to teach yourself how to learn.
Yeah.
And then when you don't know, say, I don't know, but I'll find somebody that does.
Yeah.
And that type of humility opens up more doors for yourself and for people to be able to help you with what their goals are and what your goals are. So now you have a shared goal.
Yeah.
And that's what really makes things work quickly. A lot of times when people are in startup mode, they're so focused on, I want this, I need this. Instead of breathing for a moment and saying, how could I be of service to the people that are my vendors or my customers or my coworkers or my financiers, and take a breath and tell them, hey, I'm trying to accomplish this. Maybe you know how to do this better than I do.
Yeah.
And so, some of the greatest leaders, creative scientists in the world, they have a lot of advisors. Why? Because they've learned that being able to it's not really about inappropriate and unhealthy vulnerability. It's about healthy, measured vulnerability so that you can help others and they can help you.
Well, I can see it. And then, of course, Mauricio, I'm going to pass the mic to you. I can see it in a lot of founders' face when they give their pitch and then it's Q&A time. You can see the tunnel vision and defensiveness rise up when it comes to now poking at their baby, right? Their startup. And what you're saying is there's a shift, like this should be your most favorite part about the pitch, is getting the feedback on where you can get better rather than become more defensive. If you're a defensive person, not only do you can't grow your company, but you can't recruit talent.
Yeah. There's nothing that will help you to move forward faster than constructive criticism.
Yeah.
That's right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Period.
Fail forward, baby.
Yeah.
Fail forward.
And, we're in a little bit of a different cycle than the software cycle now. Like we're talking about nuclear energy and, AI that's moving into a world model, which means, we here in California, we live in a bubble, right?
Yeah.
We've got delivery
Here in
robots
Silicon
and
Valley, we live
driverless
in a
cars and
bubble.
drones all over the place. But reality is these things are in the physical world. So if something goes wrong, it's going to hurt somebody. Right?
Yeah,
It's not like fail forward with software and, sorry, I charged your credit card $10. Here's your money back.
Yeah, sorry about that. The bionic arm that messed up that surgery. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mauricio,
The surgery went well, but the patient passed away.
But we learned a lot. It was a lot of good data.
Mauricio, same question. Big picture. How do you get there?
By the way, Keith, I love what you said, man. I'm totally I'm in absorbing mode right now. For me, it was no fear. I've never been afraid because I came from nothing and had nothing to lose. Because in my mind, I've had nothing. So for me, it was I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to where I want to. And true story, what kind of drove me, aside from playing a game at 7-Eleven, was growing up as a kid, man, it's brutal being around young kids. You know, bullying has always been around.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wanted a pair of Air Jordans at the time, and mom couldn't afford what I wanted. And I was tired of hearing no. So no turned into fuel for me to say, well, I'm going to do something about it.
Figure it out. Yeah.
At 15 years old. So I figured it out, and I was able to buy my pair of Air Jordans. And that to me is what then I wanted more.
Yeah.
And at that point, I knew that I was going to do whatever it takes. You know, go through the school because, you know, go through the, you know, as I'm growing up, I can't be living on the street, going to, you know, kid from the street that bad. But I went through that. And, but at a young age, I knew that I wanted more. Played sports, and I thought that sports would probably be I excelled in it. Anything that I touched, I excelled because I wanted to be the best at what it was.
I love how you're embracing your story of your background, because I mean, both of you have probably seen a lot of deals where you go through due diligence and you want to know about the founder, and you want to know if they have overcome something. Yeah. Now, it's one thing, and it's kudos to those who go through the Ivy League school, the top-notch school, and land in the right position. That's great. You got to be able to carry that education move forward. But for founders that you want to invest in, not only do you want to see some area of expertise or pedigree, but adversity. And it sounds like you've experienced that and embraced it, and now have this story that really gives you the foundation of your success. Because though we can sit here in our chairs now and say, oh yeah, here are the high level, low hanging fruit, high level, wherever it may be with that insight, it really comes down to where was your character forged. Yeah. And when we look for founder fit in early stage, we look for these qualities. Yeah. And how did you develop them? So for those of you listening as founders, your background, your story, and we've had Marianne Becker on here. We've had a lot of founders and successful people who have immigrated, and they have the best stories. And it really pops in terms of how their character was developed, and the fact that you grew up on the streets of, you know, Los Angeles and saw an opportunity and yet use that environment to build your character is no mystery. So those of you listening, use this in your due diligence conversations with your investors, because it matters. Yeah. So with that being said, I want to pivot now. I can move away from childhood and you know, our inner child and stuff like that. But Keith, tell me. What you both have done over the years is you've had to raise. And so our founders who are listening, and even VCs who have to raise for their fund, let's talk a little bit about raising and asking. And what are some of your high level insights that you've learned from raising? Is it the pitch? Is it the relationship? Is it providing the data and the deals? Is it all the above? How have you kind of put together good deals in your life to move the needle in your ventures?
That's a good question. And I want to talk to, like you'd said, some of the first time founders and some of the founders that have, you know, been through it a couple times. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what level you're at, you're always pitching. Mm. There's three things that I'm doing all the time. I'm raising capital, I'm allocating capital, and then I'm working with my capital partners and my portfolio companies to have the best outcome. Mm-hmm. So I'm either pitching an idea to my coworkers or pitching an idea to a company to try to adopt something to go to market, or I'm pitching an idea to our capital partners to, you know, this new fund is focused on XYZ. Mm-hmm. And what you were saying, though, about this is that what makes a pitch good? Mm-hmm. Sincerity, transparency. And when I'm looking at partners in that entire scenario, I'm investing time, money, and myself into other people. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for people that are going to invest time, money, and themselves into what they're doing. It's not just about money. It is really about I'm investing in those individuals to do the best that they can to do what they say they're going to do. Yeah,
and you want the reciprocation as well.
Well, the funny thing is when you have a great product and you have a good team around that product, people want to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's be honest about it. Humans transact value. I was laughing with my wife. We had a great conversation. She's a really good business person and definitely my better half. I said, honey, every relationship is transactional.
Oh, they'll use that one, yeah.
And she said, damn right it is.
Yeah. I love it. That's so good. And so, yeah, you've really, so what comes to mind to me is this term, my mic just, okay, now we're back online, right? Is this term called likability. Is there consideration given to likability?
100%.
Yeah? Mauricio, tap in on that one.
Yeah, no, I love to hear the way that when you're raising capital we're here Silicon Valley, you're thinking technology, real estate development. I'm in the entertainment business, and we're selling smoke and mirrors. It's an experience. And when I moved up to the Bay Area, and I was doing the nightclub stuff in LA, moved up to the Bay Area and ran with that because that's what I knew. I had that edge. I had something that was working for me. When I had to raise capital, I remember I brought in a partner that was doing these all these forms, spreadsheets and all this. And I'm like, what's that? Like, I didn't understand that because for me, I have an idea. I'm going to go to somebody that's in my industry that likes me, that loves making money with me because I have a proven track record of doing the entertainment. Yeah. And really, that's how I got into raising. I mean, I operated so many nightclubs and concert halls in the Bay Area that when I jumped into did my first one, which was the Vault in downtown, I started construction with no money. I went to a contractor that believed in me. I had $300,000 that I had raised. When they did the original bid, it was $1.3 million, and I only had $300,000. But we already had started we started demolishing the building. So I basically jumped off the cliff and figured how to build the plane on the way down. But but I did it. Why? Because as people started to see the vision that I was selling, every day I was out there pitching. Yeah, I was able to either raise the capital or have the person that was building believe in me and carry me to the point that when we opened, I was able to pay back that $1.3 million in 8 months cash.
So let me say this for our audience. I want to make sure that you all caught this. What Mauricio was sharing is I heard two things, and again, clarify if I missed one. One, I heard fit. You found the right fit. The investor, because a lot of startups will go just pitch to anybody. But really, just as much as an investor is looking for fit in the startup should be looking for the fit in the investor.
Correct.
And so I'm hearing that. You knew that, okay, this construction company or this investor likes what I'm doing. I know it. And so that's where your momentum came. The second thing was the trust. You had trust with the people you went to. Yeah. And so the raising process, and I heard this with you too, Keith, the raising process doesn't start when you need the money. It starts way before. It starts in between. It's ongoing. Yeah. It's just not, it is transactional, but it's also relational. Yeah. And I think that's what you two have been really good at, is finding the fit and building the trust.
Yes, it's that skill. It's a skill too. Has gotten me to where I'm at today. That I'm surrounded by 4 very great developers that believe in what I've done, and have supported and also given me the ability to also create. There's a lot of things that I'm learning. Real estate development is something that I really am very passionate about because I call that my long game. Yeah. Sports, entertainment, and hospitality are my sizzle. So there's kind of my 4 pillars in what I'm currently developing for the future, for what I want to do. Yeah. And it's just interesting that work ethic is also a key. You got to have the work ethic. You got to, when you're raising or when you're working and others are investing in you, they have to see that you're actually busting your ass and doing what you say you're going to do, not raising capital and go buying the Ferrari and the big home and, jet setting and, popping bottles. Yeah. That doesn't show responsibility. That doesn't show that that's a facade.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about specifically what you two are working on right now. Mauricio, I'm going to follow up on the 4 pillars, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But Brian, we're halfway through the show of season premiere. Take us to break.
Right.
Brian.
It's you. You're
That's
in,
me.
Brian.
Am I on?
That was your intro.
Hot mic. Okay.
It was a little underwhelming.
That never gets old because I've stared at Brian like, hey, we're rolling, Brian. So, all right, we're live, right? This is hot. All right, so we're back with Keith and Mauricio. We're having a good time. We're talking about, making deals, raising money, good people, why we love it. And so we want to keep the ball rolling, giving you insight, our listeners, on what it takes to lead a company, build a company, and continue to do what you love and have the freedom in doing so. But before we went to break, we were going to talk a little bit about what we're working on now. I know, Keith, you're constantly working on stuff. Mauricio, you're constantly working on stuff. You mentioned the 4 pillars, so I'm going to ask you about that in a minute.
Great.
But Keith, for this segment of the show, let me start with you. And during the break, I started to ask you, hey, I want to know what it looks like.
Hey, Keith must be a sponsor or something, man. You're getting a lot of airtime, buddy. I'm kidding.
So I was curious, like, what does that look like? And Mauricio, you had experience with this too. What does it look like to acquire these companies? See the potential in them, insert kind of what it needs to grow. What does that process look like for you, and how do you think through that? Because earlier we were talking about seeing the big picture. So you're seeing things that others don't. From your perspective, what does that look like?
Well, it's interesting because when you're looking at acquiring companies, usually there's a sector or a different type of a business a vector. What I mean by vector is where are things headed and how are you going to get there, right? How are you going to go from, okay, here's point A to point B? So you have to have somewhat of a thesis. You have to say, okay, we're going to focus on this space. There's a reason why we're focusing on this space. And we're looking at how we're going to acquire companies that are going to help meet that objective of what's going on. Now, part of our thesis is about focusing on, well, the autonomous age. The autonomous age is now. It's not, it's coming.
Yeah.
We're in the infancy of this.
Yeah.
It's been coming for a long time, and now it's now. We're here.
Right.
Yeah,
so
we're here. Yeah.
So in 12, the FAA said, we're going to do Part 107 and we're going to allow drones into the airspace, right? Now we don't even think about it. A drone shows up, takes a shot of, what you're working on as a real estate development, thing flies through a house or a building or whatever, and it's just part of filming now, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even think about it. And then a lot
Until
of the other
someone
things.
gets hurt.
Right, but that doesn't really happen.
Right, no,
right?
I'm being funny about it, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to say too, because, think about airplanes. Airplanes are just giant drones now.
Yeah.
And we fly millions of people around every day, and it's safe. Like, we're shocked if there's an accident.
Yeah.
And normally when there's an accident, it's human error.
Well, humans are messy, but that's also what makes it fun, right?
The power of messy.
So when you said, acquiring, right?
Yeah.
Well, the messy humans, you got to start looking at who's the team.
Yes.
Right?
That's
so
a
like
good
what
point,
Mauricio was saying, he had like I don't know if it was a private equity group or that said to you, hey, we want to acquire you and then we're going to give you money to go. Because they saw him and they said, we trust you to help us get from point A to point B for what we're doing.
I'm going to tell you what happened on mine. Oh, well, sure, whenever you're ready.
I mean, that's a good point where it's like one thing to swoop in and look at the data.
Yep.
Right. But it's another thing like, wait a minute. No, let's look at the people again. And that's what it's always coming back to the people.
It's always the people. So you were talking about spreadsheets and projections and, you really need all that stuff.
You do.
But make plans and watch God laugh.
That's not my job. That's the accountant's job. I'm the visionary. I'm the big thinker. I'm the guy that wants to paint the wall and tell everyone how great it is. And then they ask, well, how are we going to monetize? I'm like, well, that's your job to figure that out. This is my idea, and it sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
and that's how going through the entertainment business for so many years and getting out of it, I had pivoted and got into staffing business, a niche market, fire, water restoration, and asbestos abatement. That is not sexy, but in 5 years, I built that thing to $100 million. from 2014 to 2019. And the gentleman that saw me 6 years ago was tracking me. 2020 comes, and I had a falling out in 20, and that's the other part about entrepreneurship.
Not a success only.
It's not. You have to dot your I's and cross your T's. For those that may understand the joke, but I either got Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg out of my own company. Because I didn't dot an I and cross a T, and that's okay because my next journey, I've always been the person that has had multiple things going on at one time. So while these guys thought that they had me, by the balls on a $100 million company, I was working on my $1 billion company, which was a media company called Latin Life, and we were focused on all the major concerts across the United States. We had figured out how to box in the Latino community, the buyers, and then on February of 2020, we filed our SEC forms to go public, and we're looking at how big of a yacht we're going to buy, and one with a helicopter, one without, or something. March 16th comes. Santa Clara County is the first county in the entire world. They go shelter in place right here. And 3 days later, we're watching on TV, everything being canceled, and that $1 billion unicorn just blew up right in front of my face.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely not a success.
So,
journey.
And you can have all the spreadsheets and all the plans.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not that blows up. It's something from the outside.
Yeah.
That becomes that.
Make plans, watch God laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of joke was that, bud? You know, like I get like I'm,
Well, it's funny that you say that because, you have that knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what to do. You went through the process of what's it gonna take to get a company ready to go public. And again, for a lot of people out there that have never done that, it costs $20 million to take a company public.
Yeah.
That's just the ante up to all the bankers.
Yeah.
So you got to find that $20 million just to get yourself ready to go public.
We were lucky. We were being incubated out of 360 Labs in San Francisco, Billionaires Triangle. Red Wolf family was behind us, so we had some pretty heavy people behind our technology.
But you picked a great market though too, which is another one of the dots that you were able to connect to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So talk about connecting dots. I want to keep our audience cliffhanging. Earlier you mentioned the 4 pillars of kind of your portfolio or your mission. What does that mean? So
along the way, 2020 obviously was very. For some it went well, and for some it didn't. For me, it's actually the slowdown. It was like a global reset. It allowed me to rethink and recalibrate the people that were around me. People are important. That's definitely relationships are important. And I've been one person being in the different businesses that I've been is, to me, my relationships are number one. Period. I walk in with integrity, honesty, transparency,
great energy.
If you like what I say, great. If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
I start from black or white, never from the gray. I'll play in the gray, but we got to start from black or white.
Okay.
And then we move forward. Along the way, I met 4 great.
What does that mean? What does that mean? I want to make sure that, because again, what I'm thinking is the bottleneck can sometimes be in indecisiveness, and even on the other side of the spectrum, a lack of integrity. Right. So if you're in the gray, that means people are kind of, they're not anchored to their values. But what does that mean for you?
I think, you learn to listen to your gut. We've all done it. Where we're like, oh, wow, I'm going to make a bunch of money and I'm going to go into this deal and it's going to be great. And you ignore that your gut's saying, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And even if you get into the deal and you're making money, then it doesn't end well.
Yeah.
But you already knew.
Yeah. Or cutting corners, right? You follow the process A to Z, right? You go linear. You don't go A, Z, back, forward. Like you don't ping pong. In some cases, you might have to do things, but we didn't start from there. We started from linear thought process, right? We're going to go A to Z. And for me, and when we talk about the gray is, for example, in the bar business, you can push a lot of gray, you can cut some corners, but you don't start from that. You don't want to push regulation. You don't want to stress things too much because then it breaks. The system breaks, right? So for me, it's black or white. And some people prefer starting from, they're both the same. It's just it's a color difference. I guess it's an example that I use. Along the way, I've met these 4 developers that are developing big in downtown right now. They're I call them my giants, and very distinguished families. One is Gary Dillabov, Jeff Arriaga, Tony Ariola, and Mark Lazzarini. Great human beings and great visionaries on what they're doing in the downtown. And I was able to latch on to one of the partners, Tony Ariola, who then started very closely mentoring me. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at all these developers. There's many great developers, too, that are doing great things in our communities and all the different cities here. And he says, how are you going to differentiate yourself from us, Mauricio? And he goes, you have a skill set. Use it. He says, you know entertainment, you know sports, and you know hospitality. If you want to create this fund or this universe for yourself, you can use the real estate as the anchor because it's tangible.
Was that the 4?
It's the 4.
Okay.
So real estate is my first, like when I pitch or when I'm talking to people about what I'm doing, I'm focusing on real estate, land development, high density, residential, mixed use. Along the way, in a mixed use development, I'll give you an example. On the ground floor, you have restaurants, bars, hospitality. So what I've done is now I talk about it and I give those 3 the sizzle, the sports and entertainment. Sports, I want to be a sports team owner one day. I'm actually working on a big deal right now that's closing this week. Actually, last night we signed our agreement.
Can we talk about it? Can we release it? This comes out next week. So
yeah, no problem. Hoop It Up, if you know the brand, owned by Kevin Garnett. It's an old brand. Actually, I was working with multiple groups. I was working with Ice Cube and the Big 3, trying to bring a Big 3 team to the Bay Area.
Oh, yeah.
Or to San Jose specifically. And I also knew that Hoop It Up was a big brand back in the day. So one of the things that I did, instead of pigeonholing or getting boxed into the NBA, Big 3, or Unrivaled, which is the women's 3-on-3 division, I thought I took a step back, kind of like the tech companies, right? I was like, you know what? I can be friends with all of them, and I can become a feeder. So Hoop It Up, we're the majority shareholders in the company now, and it's an international brand. It's at one point 327 events, tournaments, 27 countries, 32 million in revenue. So it's something that I want to take it to $500 million to $1 billion worth, because it can. There's so many different verticals you can go there. Technology, you can do the stats. Now with AI, you can do all kinds of amazing things. You got the apparel lines, the shoe line, the digitizing, the gaming side. You have so many different things that we can develop. So
I got to introduce you to Colin Baring, my buddy over at Baring Capital Stack Ventures. We got a brand new building in Oakland, 1900 Broadway. It's beautiful, and in same space. Their family used to be in sports, and now they're
we need to talk. My buddies are the ones that took down the Oakland Coliseum, the whole development there, that 112 acres.
And I think some of the names you mentioned earlier, who are your buddies, those names actually sound familiar. So you and I may be closer in circles than we previously thought.
Well, Jeff Arriaga, John Arriaga, his uncle, Arriaga Stadium at Stanford, he built Stanford. There's a lot of things. Gary Dillabov was one of the top guys at eBay. Yeah.
You guys are doing some amazing things because you figured out how to provide more of an experience by stacking value for people who are engaging in these properties. Yeah. And that's what makes you unique. Because again, it's back to this idea of seeing the bigger picture and how you can maximize value and experience for people. And I love that mindset. And I asked you both about it. But definitely want to talk a little bit in a minute about the event that we were talking about during the break. Yeah. Sometimes we get so deep into the conversation. I don't know if we already talked about it during the show or during the break, but we're going to come back to that in a minute. But Keith, I want to talk to you a little bit about your company right now, because you're pushing heavy on robotics and longevity. But where are you at in terms of what you're building now, and what do you see 2026 bringing?
Wow, that's a great question.
That's a big question.
Yeah. So
we're in our show.
Maykr, it's interesting, and it's very unique, and also the spelling of the company is unique.
Yeah,
it's Maykr. So, and it's about making stuff. But as I had talked about, what our thesis is, when you're looking at doing a project, or you're focused, your expertise, and it's about making people happy and entertaining them, having a place for them to do that. Whether it's to live or to buy an experience, whether it be with sports or good drink or entertainment. And we really see this infancy of the autonomous age. So we focus on certain pillars. AI as a service, robotics as labor, compute as a full stack, from the real estate all the way through the companies that would then sell the compute, like with those AI statistics that you're talking about. And then energy. So energy is traditional energy, hybrid technologies, and what's happening right now, we're not that far off from fusion energy. So we've got small modular reactors or other nuclear reactors that are around that are starting to come back on. Hydrogen, geothermal. I mean, we look at the entire thing. But you know what? It also starts with land. Everything starts with real estate.
We can share relationships here, right? We can connect after this. I got some people that I want to introduce you to.
That's what we're all about here. Connecting relationships.
I'm listening to him, and I'm in love with your story, your energy. I'm in love with
I love your stuff. So
it's Silicon Valley.
I can't say it enough.
When you use words like thesis and all this, like I can't even pronounce the word right. Like when you use those big words, I'm like, for some people they understand. I'm the guy that likes to build it. Like it's just different.
Well, thesis. Here's the funny thing. You know what thesis is translated as? What the fuck are you trying to do? That's really what it is.
We break it down here.
You dressed her up really pretty. You dressed her up really pretty, and I'm just giving it to you raw, baby. Like, but I understand it, and I think that once you get to that version of that level, and I've went through this with this acquisition that I just went through. When I get into that universe of that corporate world, I'm like, I'm a fish out of water because I'm a shot caller. I walk in and I'm just like, see things that are screwed up, and I'm like,
But you know what? All those executives that went through Ivy League and whatnot, they were trained to be these hyper A type personalities, and I'm the and they see someone like you, and they're like, they see freedom. They want to be you.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Well, most of it is a lot of it is word power. I mean, I'm a third generation entrepreneur, but you can hear it in Silicon Valley. Like there's words, but really what you're talking about is, how do I build that shit? Right. I just want to build it.
At the end of the day, look, when you think about it, and don't hate me for this, but guys like Elon are more accustomed to Henry Ford than they are to Einstein. And I'll explain. Okay. There's a lot of complexity in what's going on in the world today. You're talking about how you have this sports brand, and you're going to be using artificial intelligence to bring a better experience.
Yeah.
100%. So there's all these different buckets where things are more complex. They really are more complex. But here you have a modern industrialist like a Henry Ford. And you know what all these people have done? They put their hands up and they say, hey, I can't do that. I need to go and find the best people that I can.
Yes. I have similar too.
He's a really good marketer. But he's not building batteries. He's not launching the rocket. You know what he's doing? He's making sure that his teams have all the capital that they need.
That's right.
Telling a story. I mean, the guy's pitching 24/7. He's been having self-driving cars for 15 years. But, $13 billion and Google buying Waymo later, they have self-driving taxis, right? Yeah. So it's like, as an entrepreneur, as a storyteller, all the folks out there, that, like you said, thesis? No, it's like, what the hell are you doing? How are you going to get there? Yeah. What's the smartest way to get there? What's the most honest way to get there? Now, you see, the honest thing's important, right? You want to break down what it is? Stay out of jail.
Yeah, stay out of trouble. And 100%. Because ultimately...
do what you say you're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
Tell people before they ask you what's going on.
Right.
There's always problems.
Always. There's no need to cover it up. I tell my team, I don't call them employees, I call my teammates. I say, listen, if you mess up, just tell me. That way I can fix the problem in real time versus you trying to cover it up, because the problem is just going to get bigger and bigger. And by the time it comes to me, it's probably too big, or it's going to create more. It's going to take more energy and time and money to fix it versus where we would have caught it right in the beginning. So we built that culture in our company where if there's a problem, let's take care of it now.
If somebody makes a mess, right, like a dog on the sidewalk or something, how many people are going to step in that thing before one person is like, you know what, I better just clean that up?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a whole nother conversation I'd love to go about, just the confidence to build. Because it's one thing to be handed a role, right? When you're applying for a job and you can then master that role, that script, that system, and you get good at it. But to see a blank slate and have the confidence to say, I can build this because there's a pain point or an opportunity. As a unique character quality, again, that we could go down. Before we go down that hole, but I want to make sure that you completed your kind of buckets on what you're building. Yeah.
So in 23, we acquired a company. Now, you were talking about the pandemic. Make plans, watch God laugh, earthquakes, hurricanes, all these things. And you always have to think about that, as people, right? So Bright Lab in 23, robotics company does the cars that carry the silicon chips around the factories. So, these are robots on tracks, and then AI assisted logistics in that regard. So the technical term is automated material handling systems. Okay. Right? So like inside, when you're inside the Amazon warehouse and all the robots are doing it, that's automated materials handling systems, right?
Very cool.
So we do all the robots that do that and all these other things. And we do a lot of contract manufacturing and a lot of work for, the big guys. Actually, Tesla is one of our contracts, and Boeing and Texas Instruments, and just to name a few, really big companies that even existed before Tesla.
So I got to ask this again. People are hearing this and going, "Wow, that's amazing." You have all these contracts and ins, but if someone, again, is a first-time founder who might be listening, how did you position yourself to get access to the bigger contracts, to the right people? Because you're not going to just roll out of bed one day, say, I'm going to build something, and then go sell it to Tesla.
It took years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years. So I started out learning computer science, also learning different parts of creativity. I have a background in creativity. I have a background in computer science. And, I wasn't born with a lot of money. And my family, I'm a third generation immigrant, and my family had to come over here avoiding getting killed in another country and things like that, like most Americans, right? There's very few. It takes years, decades to be able to make the right choices and make mistakes, to be able to have that type of instinct, to be able to have the type of track record where people trust you. When you say to someone, hey, I need $100 million to start this project, that's not easy ask.
You got to deliver it with confidence. Just that $100 million so we can start up this, But it also has to make sense. I've been in those conversations.
Right. So you're talking about, building a stadium, These are $2-3 billion projects.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, and when you surround yourself with people that are talking like that, you start to pick that language up and you see their confidence. I can walk into a room and ask for $150 million or even $1 billion for something because I know that when they ask me the next question, which I know what the next question is going to be, I'm prepared to show what it is.
Right, but specifically, and to answer your question with Mauricio's experience, that's a 25, 30-year journey.
Yes.
There's no shortcut there, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So, yes, stuff happens where, you have a company like Instagram that has 8 employees that gets bought for $1 billion. That stuff happens.
$2 billion.
But that's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, I swear.
Yeah, those are those anomalies that are out there. It could happen, but not very.
Right, but the
often.
guys that sold, they were like, oh, I don't like this corporate environment, and they were out.
Yeah,
and they started other stuff, which we're also enjoying.
Yeah,
but then they became the financiers.
Yeah.
They became the capital partners.
Yeah.
They became the ones that were coaching.
Brian.
Oh, no, he did. No, he did.
Perfect timing for that one. Oh, what?
This is Hoop. I'm over here watching Hoop It Up TV.
Are you watching Mauricio's stuff?
I'm doing research on these guys. They're throwing these things
that's
out.
One of our
I'm on the Hoop It Up. I'm on the Hoop It Up website.
God, you scared me, Brian.
I scared myself. I didn't know that thing was on.
That was awesome timing too, man. That was perfect.
All right, that's a listener reset and a host reset.
Oh man, I'm all over the map today, Brian. I'm a little rusty being out for so long, so many weeks off the job.
We all felt that. I mean, Keith, you came back from CES. I was down pretty much. I went to CES and then I was down on the East Coast in December. So anyway, you're forgiven. Good job, Brian.
You want some more then?
That's Mauricio's jam right there. Oh, all right. So I got a couple more questions for you guys as we start to kind of wrap up. Number one, I'm going to after this next question, I'll ask, what's next for you? How can people connect with you? But I'm sure our audience is thinking, Keith, what was it like in the early years of the Tesla Foundation? What was that experience? What'd you pull away from that? What'd you learn?
Wow,
and then,
yeah.
and Mauricio, I definitely want to chat with you while we're live about the event. That's really cool. So let's start with that.
Okay.
Let's start with the event that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Wait, did we talk about this already?
No, we still got into the
during the break,
the one that Jake and Jeff are putting together.
Yeah, you guys are okay. So in San Jose, set the stage.
Yeah, no. So I get invited to this event at Reed Hillview Airport, which is a small airport with little prop planes, right? Uh-huh. Like it's in the east side of San Jose. And I'm like, what? But I'm curious, so I want to show up just to be nosy Parker, right?
Uh-huh.
And I show up, and I walk in, and I feel like a complete fish out of water. And I look around, and the people that are there, like, there's this one, like, he looks like a character. He's wearing this little his leather helmet, like the pilot helmets, like fighter.
The old school,
like Amelia Earhart.
Amelia Earhart, exactly. Yeah.
And it's little, like, with a little bomber jacket, and he's walking a little proud and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's a character. And then they're saying that, they're doing some flights, and it was a Halloween theme.
Yeah.
So I asked the guy, I'm like, they're going to do flights? I'm like, I want to find out. So the guy says, it's the lady over there. I walk over to the lady. She's wearing this devil outfit, and I'm looking, I'm like, that's a sign that I'm not going to go up there to that. So I later got introduced to the people that were doing this event. And right away, I'm that person that I see beyond.
Yeah, the big picture.
The big picture. Yeah, I see beyond. I see this guy's talking about this event and what they want to put together. And two great human beings, Jake and Jeff, they're coming together. They're doing a collaboration. Jake is an amazing super connector. Jeff has the hangar and the planes. But my hand's itching. By the way, that means big money's coming.
Money.
So
really?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Explains a lot for me. I'm broke.
He's talking about it.
Yeah.
So I asked him. I said, "Hey, do you have access to jets, like little mini jets? Can jets land on this airport?" He goes, "Yeah, smaller ones, not like the G5s." I said, "Or the G6." I'm like, "Well, we don't need a big one. We just need a small jet. Can we
Boeings or anything?
Can we get a jet here?" He goes, "Like, yeah." So then I said to him, I said, "Well, let's consider doing some future events. My background is events and planning and putting together, and these guys were already in the process of putting other events together. So they brought me in as a collaborator and a host for their next event, which is January 29th. That's at the Reed Hillview, and it's got which was cool. They're adding the tech component, so it's an AI edition. It's with founders and funders. So." Yeah. So I'm excited to see what transpires out of this because, again, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a small plane or a big plane. If you own a small plane,
paper plane,
or you're in a different mindset. You're in a different level, right? It's just like people that drive exotic cars or different certain levels. It's a different mindset.
Yeah.
So I said, you have a gem you guys are hovering around, and he goes, yeah, we just don't know how to identify. I said, well, let me help you funnel it and clean this thing up.
Yeah. And
let's create a brand out of this. So we have a couple of ideas that we're going to start putting together. I told him, I said, hey, can we do like a big event? Like, I've done some big events in downtown. Yeah. We did a Steve Aoki event. I mean, imagine doing a big dance or a big kind of mini rave at a hangar in San Jose. So I'm going to push the boundaries, right? I'm starting from black or white, and we'll play in the gray later on, but that's kind of where we're going.
So you said January 29th?
Yeah, January 29th is at Reed Hillview Airport in San Jose.
I'll get the link from you between now and when the show releases, and we'll put that in.
Is that a ticketed event?
Yes, it is. It's again, the guys that are putting it together, they want to do cost recovery. It's not something and at the same time, it's always good to do something where you're invested into versus it being free.
Yeah.
So it is.
So what's the content, or is it just get together and hang around playing?
No, they do have a program. They're my understanding, they're bringing some people that are involved in AI technology. Some VC people are going to be there, and some founders of companies are going to be there. So it's going to be a mixture. I don't know what to expect. All I know is that I want to make sure that when people walk in, the experience that they have makes them say, oh, you know what? I like this.
Yeah.
And then we'll just keep them wondering when's the next one.
Yeah, SFO
And then
or something. Yeah.
Well, I told them, hey man, we got to think big. This car, the car week that they do in Pebble Beach and Carmel.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how many millionaires and billionaires fly in their private jets into Monterey? I said, why not host a private VIP party, and where we can really. All
right. Well, hey, however Silicon Valley Venture can help out, love to do that.
We're all working together already.
Yeah, we have 90,000 on our newsletter, so happy to.
There you go.
Get those voices involved. All right, looking forward to that. So we'll have more in our show notes about that event that's upcoming. It sounds super exciting. But Keith, I'm going to come back to you. You've had a little experience in the Tesla Foundation early years. From a high level, what did you learn from that experience?
Our biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
The people that are most successful, even at the highest levels, they don't take themselves too seriously, but they take what they're doing seriously. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to put in the effort. If you're at that level and people want you to perform, you have to perform.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to make the people around you miserable.
Yeah.
And you can be a good leader. You can be a good manager. And you can get things done without being a bad person.
You know what? The second you said that, I felt it. And let me tell you what I felt. Some of the best people like you two that I've met in my life, like Brian, who are doing really well, are light to be around. It's light. And I feel like sometimes when we go to events, you run into people and you can feel how heavy they are. And they're doing okay, but the next level, they're exactly what you're saying. They don't take themselves seriously. They're light. It's easy. You know, you met Colin. Colin was in here. Very light to be around. Yeah. Highly successful like you do. And so that positioning yourself to be a light person where you're able to let go, joke with yourself, have fun. 2026 is about having more fun too, I think.
Good.
We're at his event. Let's go.
I see what you did there.
You touch on that though, but it also takes work on yourself to get to that point because I've reached points. For example, part of the reason why, again, we talked about it earlier about the acquisition of my company. I was in a very dark, heavy setting because things were not going the way that I wanted them to. But I said, there's no way. This is not how it ends. This is not how the story ends.
Yeah.
And with intention, I looked outside of my.
The universe has your back.
That's right. That's right.
Whatever you find is that inner faith, that inner strength. You know what you're saying about lightness. That means to rise. Yeah. Right. If you're heavy, you're sinking.
Yes.
And I mean, it's important to say this because we live in a hyper-connected world. So.
Yes, very true.
Having a way to start the day with a practice for yourself so that you have your mental health, you have your physical health, you have, financial health isn't, I got a ridiculous amount of money in the bank. It's like, do I have what I need today?
That's right.
Yeah.
So that I can do what I need to do today.
To live another day. Yeah.
I mean, having things is wonderful. Yeah. But, you can buy more cars, more watches, but they're not going to make you feel good inside.
Yeah.
When you accomplish something and you do a project and you've been working on that project and you reach those goals with your team, with your family, with your friends, that's a real sense of accomplishment.
I love that. And I know this is what, we started with that by asking, what you learned from that. And I think we could just leave it at that. That was a great experience because Mauricio, you talked about this a little bit before. People who feel like they come from the streets or not being connected or if they're feeling excluded, it's not so much there's a bridge there. It's like you found ways to go across a bridge. And I think at some point in all of our lives we find ways to reach across a bridge, whatever that bridge may be. And you can't get from here to there by not being light, right? Like letting go, trying new things, being curious, being grateful, being kind to others. It goes a lot back to what we were saying earlier about character. If you want to go from wherever you're at, it's about being a better person.
Mauricio, you said that I saw myself after this gentleman gave me the image of what he saw of me, but I wasn't seeing that image of me.
Yeah.
That is, I have power. I'm an entrepreneur.
You're talking about the guy in the beginning.
At 15 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and that you talked about that in your story so profoundly.
Yeah.
Because you then started to see yourself.
Yeah.
As that entrepreneur.
I did, and I didn't add this gentleman turned on the switch, but I learned my work ethic from my mother. My mom was working hard in order to provide a roof and food on the table.
God bless her.
So yes, thank you. So I picked up that work ethic and I applied it to what I've done. So today, where I'm at, and I tell my my mom is alive. Both parents are still alive. I tell my mother that I dedicate my successes to her, because if it wasn't for and she's like, well, what did I do? I said, Mom, you did a lot. Trust me. Even though you did what you could with what you had.
Yeah.
And I'm here and I'm sharing. I'm telling you that I'm a reflection of the work ethic that was implemented in me.
I love that respect that you showed to your parents. I mean, Brian earlier was sharing an email from his son that was really touching, and then before
that was prompted by Keith's phone call with his mom just before the show.
Yeah, we had mentioned
his mom called in. He picked up and was just remarkably kind and patient and gentle with her, and we really both heard it.
Yeah.
It was impactful.
Yeah.
Yes.
My mom gets me like I feel amazing. It right now. I feel her right now. That again, I would not be here. One, if both my parents, I would not be here if it wasn't for both of my parents. And that's the other part, right? Going back to, you got to work on yourself to be that person, to get that lightness as well, because we carry so much shit, from childhood.
Life's gonna life.
Yeah, man.
Life's gonna life. And how you react to this and how you then are able to take adversity and turn it into a lesson that makes you stronger. Because it's going to happen.
It's inevitable.
I mean, there's a really funny story. One of the legends in the Valley, a guy named Nolan Bushnell. I don't know if you guys recognize the name. But do you guys remember Atari games, Pong? So that's the guy. He was the founder, he was the founder and had co-founders, right? So like his two most famous employees are Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, right? But I remember, and I was lucky enough to have him as someone that mentored me when he was still active in the community. And he said, look, I had a hit video game in every magazine, and I'm having problems with my suppliers, my bank, and I'm trying to figure out how to pay payroll. So you're in the outside, you're thinking, oh wow, everything's shiny and pretty and woo, what's going on? And but that's life, right? You're doing stuff, right? You're talking about development, any kind of project, whether it's a house or a nightclub or a stadium. You're going to talk about delays and
people think that it just happens
and
overnight. It takes now it takes about 5 to 8 years of a cycle to get one high rise up.
Yeah. Colin was in here. I mean, Colin Baring said the same thing about his building in Oakland. But again, you guys are great conversations. Before we chime out, I want to make sure that our audience knows how, in some way, to connect with you. So, what's the best way? LinkedIn, email. Please, how can our audience start to connect with you?
I'm on every social platform, Mauricio Mejia. But if you really want to be simple, just Google me, or now ChatGPT me, Mauricio Mejia San Jose.
Yeah.
And I've done it a couple times on myself. I'm like, oh shoot,
what's going to happen?
Wow. I'm checking, making sure that nothing pops out, no skeleton pops up. But I mean, to the point that even my cell phone number pops up. So, I tell people out there, and I said, I am always an open door for good conversation on business. If you're calling to gossip or complain, don't bother me.
Love it.
But if you want to talk about business, investments, entrepreneurship, mentorship, there's certain things.
This has been a great conversation. I love it. So thank you for bringing that. How can people connect with you, Keith?
Maykr.inc. Maykr Inc.
Yeah.
And the website's got everything on there about what we're doing. Easiest way to get in touch with me and my team.
All right. Well, again, this was amazing, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian,
Yeah,
Yes.
Mauricio.
Thank you for running the show today. Appreciate everybody. Thank you for listening today. We'll see you again next week. Go call your mothers.
Hey, I think this is the Brian and Brian show, man.